Normally today would be live streaming day, but because I am away traveling, I thought that we'd just do a journal with me and chill type session, kind of a real-time look of me getting into my planners, and you can do the same, so journal along with me. Let me know in the comments, what are you doing? Are you, actually journaling? Are you folding laundry? Making a meal plan for the week? Whatever it is, I would love to have you join me, so let's get into it. Honestly, the main reason I'm kind of doing this is because I am stressed. I like to think I don't get genuinely stressed all that often, but this is going to be the first instance where I'm taking an international trip that isn't just me going home to Melbourne by myself. A trip that's this big I have not taken by myself before, so I'm just a little bit apprehensive about it. I'm not so much a nervous flyer or anything like that. I think it's really just that, I don't feel super comfortable in airports, maybe. And of course I start catastrophizing, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss my connecting flight, or things are gonna be delayed, or whatever like that. We're just gonna set all of that kind of thinking aside, because that is not doing me any favors. And instead, I'm going to take control of what I can control, which is my planner. So getting in here, just checking off things that have already been done, that kind of stuff. This layout here is my kind of work outputs layout. So we've got, photos, text, videos, and other bits and pieces. So this is a schedule for 5 weeks. You can see the period of time I'm away here. And at the moment we are filming the faux live. I can check off that the theme voting has happened. And you can see the majority of other stuff that's supposed to be coming out in the next couple of days has happened too, including the podcast episode. If you don't follow the podcast, I would so absolutely love if you subscribe to the podcast channel. It's honestly just so much fun for me, and I do hope that it is fun for our planner pals as well. There's a link to it in the description box, but checking off the rest of this stuff, I was kind of planning to have the May plan with me done before I left, mainly because it comes out the day after I get back. And the idea of having to film it the day I get back to get it up the next day was a little bit, not so fun. But what I've instead decided to do is just push it forward for a few days. I think that'll just be easier. So nothing to check off in the videos box. In this one here, the release schedule is going to come out when I get back as well. I'll work on that when I get back, because I'm not too sure what content is coming out next month yet. Similar idea with the live stream reminder, I'll do that later. Though I can check off that the wallpapers have been done, so that's good. So this spread is sorted with. Flipping over, I actually have done everything for these, I just haven't checked them off. And I could sit here and put all of the check marks in, but I don't think I really want to right now. I might do that before the end of the month, we'll see what happens. But stuff that I can check off is our next podcast episode. At the time that this video comes out, the podcast is coming out the next day, so yay! But we have done description, uploading, the final check, the thumbnail has been made, all of that kind of stuff. B-roll done. Promotion, I mean it's not really promotion, it's just posting on Facebook to say hey, there's a new episode out, which I guess kind of is promotion, but anyway. And then these episodes have actually been pushed forward because we're gonna have a kind of Go Wild digest, but I actually have to go Wild before that can happen, which I mean at the time of this again coming out I am at Go Wild, or Go Wild has kind of finished up, but anywho, nothing to add to the reflections, nothing to add to the notes just yet. In terms of my daily logging, it's been a little bit hit and miss in the lead up to going away. So you can see Monday's here, we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Saturday I just completely skipped. Sunday only had 2 things and one of them got pushed forward. I didn't even put Monday in, but Tuesday's here. And then flipping over, Tuesday goes across, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. And currently, when I'm filming this, it is Tuesday. So things that I am doing, I am currently charging my iPad, so that's good. My watch, I am kind of partway through charging. Obviously it's on my body right now, so I'm going to charge it overnight, so that's fine. The toothbrush I am charging, that's good. And the phone is going to charge overnight as well. In terms of our live stand-in video, we have the idea and the filming, which is kind of happening, but it's not done yet. And I've also started charging my headphones, so that's happening, all good. If we flip back though to the, what is effectively the monthly log, that one could probably use some updating, mainly checking things off, so checking off that the YouTube meeting happened, crossing out that the budgeting didn't. Ugh. Bujo Wednesday happened, but Cameron and Ollie didn't come over because Cameron wasn't feeling super well. Something very exciting that happened in the past week though was cocktail night. It was effectively, well, funnily enough, a cocktail night, but each of myself and my friends, we made a cocktail inspired by a book. So we had Rachel, who did Alice in Wonderland. Hers was very much like Queen of Hearts inspired, and she did a great job decorating. I'm gonna put pre-flight packing here, or like pre-trip, not packing, what's the word, shopping. The problem, I'm like reading ahead. Pre-trip shopping, excellent. But Scotty did Queen of the Damned, and his was a kind of like overall narrative inspired, which was pretty cool. So it had like various different elements that related to the film slash book, because it's, you know, related to a book. It's just that the book he bought had the cover of the movie poster, so that's why I'm like getting myself confused. Monica did One Dark Window, and her cocktail was like, first of all, beautiful because it was like super black because she used black vodka, and then she also used edible glitter in it, so it was like this like shimmering whirlpool. It was very cool. And then my cocktail was inspired by Akata, A Court of Thorns and Roses, so very floral, kind of like spring court vibes. Along with the cocktails though, we also did a nibble to go with it, again inspired by the book. So Rachel had like chocolate dipped strawberries and macaroons. Scotty also had chocolate dipped strawberries, which is why we kind of decided that like if we ever do this again, we're gonna have to do some kind of coordination to make sure that we don't all bring the same stuff. But Monica's nibble was a kind of like berry and cheese baked brie with balsamic vinegar and then like crackers to dip into it. It was so good. And then mine was a strawberry shortcake inspired scone. In terms of stuff that are happening here though, pre-go wild planning, that has happened. Or like if we kind of flip back, you can see what I mean by this. So it's like this plan here. There is a lot of blank space on this, and that's because last time I did a pre-go wild plan, I did it like way in advance. We just jump into the journal I was using at that point of time. So you can see that my list of stuff to do spanned an entire spread here, and that's because I started it like mid-January, I think is when I started writing it, because it would have been after I tea stained all of these pages for February. But you can see there's like a lot of February content and stuff on here, and even like January content, I suppose, that I was organizing before I was going, and that's because last February was hellishly busy. Like if we kind of flip back and have a look, if we can find it. Oh, I loved this theme so much with like the torn and then burnt edges, but it doesn't look super busy, but there actually was a lot going on. Like Scotty's hens weekend, or like not technically hens, I guess like bachelor's weekend. I don't know, we just call them all hens, so whatever. That. Then we had Tom and Rose's wedding. We had a small amount of like break time for me, which was good. And then Scotty and Nathan's actual wedding. But then it's like, you know, trying to cram all of my content making into a shorter amount of time for both those weekends, and then when we were going away, like it was just a bit. So I needed a lot of space to plan out all of the things that I was doing. This time I was like, oh yeah, I can probably get away with just one page. Certainly could get away with just one page. I did not need that much. But we could actually check off some of the things that are on here too, which is good. So just bring that a little closer to myself. Personal prep, full body scrub, tick. Hair care, I've started, I haven't finished. In terms of videos, the grief journal is done. We've got the live done. Podcast episode 6 is done. We've decided that the May plan with me is getting put off, but we can put faux live in here because I'd like it to be, you know, up to date. Technically not finished at this stage, or at least not for me. For you in the future, or technically your present, it's all good. It's done. Other membership work though, we have the hangout, that's done. Lettering practice is done. Theme voting is done. Exclusive video is done. And then the team pick voting, I think I've put up? Yes, because I remember filling in the poll for it, so yay! We do have some work to do in my Go Wild journal though, so I think I'm gonna get that one out and actually start populating some of these things, just so that I can check off that they've actually been done. So we'll push this guy to the side, we can leave the checklist there for myself. Being careful not to knock over my cola, otherwise that would be sad times for me. My Go Wild journal is this cheeky little boy here. He's just like a B6. I'd have wanted something kind of small, like compact, so that I could, you know, take it with me without adding too much kind of bulk, I suppose, both in my like carry bag, and then when I put it in my suitcase, it doesn't add a lot of weight to that either. But we open this guy up and we'll just start at the start because it's a very good place to start. So we've got like general information here. That one I have filled in, so we can see that one's checked off. And then my checklist, just making sure that I do actually have everything that needs to be done on here or anything else that I can think of. And also checking off anything that has been completed. So collating travel documents, I have thankfully done that because like literally I leave tomorrow. Picking my vlogging format, I still want to kind of like, I don't know, nail that down. Pre-trip shopping, done that today. Scheduling drop-off and pick-up with Vogel, like it's technically scheduled, but I need to make sure he knows when things are happening. Organizing table mate gifts, I have to write out my kind of like note from Jess for that. So if we flip forward, kind of show you what my table mate gifts are going to be, if I can find them, oh my lord. Here we go. So for my table mate gifts, I'm giving everybody a Typhosi A5 notebook. I'm going to give them one of my contact cards, which both of these I have to pick up in the States. And then I also want to have a little note from me that says like, you know, hi, thank you for being my table mate, all of that kind of stuff. I had planned to do this last year, but I just ran out of time. So considering the fact that I do have at least some hours before I have to get on the plane, I would like to do this. So I actually might add that to today's checklist just so I don't forget it. Sometimes I like to use duplication of information to help myself out to make sure I actually do the things that I need to get done. So we're gonna put write table mate notes in here. There we go. So at least I've just got that effectively saved in another place. So hopefully it gets done. The plan is to get it done. So there's at least that, I suppose. Put this guy back. And bring back my journal. Charging the electronics is happening. Buy the roaming package is literally going to happen like on the plane, just because I don't like to top up my phone when it could possibly use those funds for something else. It just makes me a little nervous. I've been burnt before, but I don't actually have pack on here, so we should probably add packing. Pack, get to airport, and check in. I don't have to have a completely full list like I don't think I did last year. I had like 3 lines remaining, but because I only had a little bit of space and I can just add those in, it's all good. But flipping forward, we have the itinerary and the kind of like, you know, actual print off schedule here. This doesn't need any updating for me, and I've already gone and put in a little bit of decoration here because I thought it was kind of cute. I still don't know what I'm doing on the Sunday, so I should probably figure something out with regards to that, but that is also a future me problem. My bucket list I have filled in, so we can check that off along with the checklist. And then places to see, I don't know what there is in and or around Arlington, and I keep meaning to look it up and I keep putting it off. Maybe that'll be something that I literally do in my downtime at Go Wild, because I'm not going to do it right now. In terms of my shopping list, I can check off that I do have my travel stuff. I got some postcards because somebody reached out and asked if I wanted to come to the postcard meet and greet, meet up, swap thing that they're doing, so I figured might as well actually go with postcards. My Plan Jammer outfit, I was so hoping that my t-shirt from Archer and Olive was going to arrive before I left, and at this stage it's looking like it's probably not going to, because it says that the like delivery window is between tomorrow and 2 days in the future, so I'm like, yeah, probably not. That's okay. I still have pajama pants and I'll just wear like a regular top and that's fine. Table mate gifts, like we said, need to kind of finish doing some stuff, but in terms of like shopping, that has already been shopped for, so that's all good. I'm also just gonna write down Snaplock bags because I got them today specifically for Go Wild, so put those on as well. The idea here is that like for any of the swag bits that I get, especially the smaller pieces of swag, rather than just letting them kind of like have free roam in my suitcase, I'll put them into Snaplock bags so that they can stay contained. Just makes it a little bit easier to make sure that I don't open my suitcase at the other end, like come the end of my trip and it's just like stuff everywhere. I also want to add some kind of color down the bottom here, so that's just putting in some of those purple lines as well, just to make it kind of match what's going on the other side. Here and here. And I feel like I want to put it down the bottom even if it's not actually going to get used, but I don't want it to encroach on this blue wave, so I'm going to protect the blue wave with washi tape. That effectively just involves like laying some washi tape down over the top of it like this, and then I'm going to use a craft knife to just very carefully cut along the black line, because then I can leave the part that's on the blue on the page and then the part that's not on the blue I can pull up. But do be careful when working with a craft knife. Take your time, go slowly, all of the good things. We want this to be as safe as possible. There we go. So you can see it kind of like matches that wave, and then I can put the purple lines in and not have to worry about them getting onto the blue. Also, do make sure that you don't press too hard when you do that, because you don't want to cut through the paper. That would be a bad time. But there we go. That looks pretty cute. One here as well. Doesn't need to be very big, but it kind of just makes it look like it's like tucked behind that little wave decoration. I think that looks good. We're going to try and pull this tape up without pulling the paper up. The tape decided to rip. There we go. Excellent. And just finish that off with the dot marker on the first 3. So the first 3 lines on this side are the only ones that I'm actually going to use. This is effectively very similar to what I had on the checklist. So if we flip back, you can see that the lines for the checklist kind of like go up against the wave as well. So similar idea to what we've got here. This list is effectively stuff to pack in my carry-on, whereas this is the stuff to pack in my like actual suitcase. And I feel like there must be things that I'm missing from this packing list. So I'm going to flip back to my last one and see if I can kind of use my previous entries as like inspiration. The problem is like now flipping in between the two of them, or back and forth. There we go, words. I do need to pack my tote. I don't need to pack a backpack this time. I packed a backpack last time because Vocal and I were going for a lot longer. But the tote bag is necessary. What else? Some of these I won't need because the weather was distinctly different when we went the first time, like to the US that is, because we were going to DC and it was very, very cold. So I needed things like gloves and a beanie and stuff like that. Don't really need it so much this time. I do need to pack my tripod, and I also need to pack my Go Wild journal, my 5-year journal, my pencil case, and also I was considering taking along another mini journal. This one's called the Cameo journal and it was sent to me by a follower, so I would like to actually have a look at this because I haven't looked at it yet. I'll just politely open that with my tweezers carefully because I don't want to injure me or the journal or the paper. There we go. Break into it. So, step 1, customize the prompts to fit your vision, and step 2, choose people to fill in the pages. It's really that easy. So this one is like a little A6 journal. It has lined paper, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, lined paper. And then, oh, it's got like a space to write down their name and then like the date or the location, which is kind of cute. So flip over for ideas and recommendations to get started. Let's have a look. So we've got like general prompt ideas, like best advice you've ever received, or describe a near-death experience. Oh my gosh. Write in another language, fun memory. Oh, that's cool. Alrighty. So fill out the prompts section of your journal to give your author some creative inspiration. I guess I should probably do that before I go. So this journal belongs to me. I could probably fill that in. And then, dear curator. Oh, that's me. Welcome to the Cameo journal. This journal is a collaborative effort, but you play the most vital role. Your role is to invite authors, people whose voices you value, to contribute their thoughts, stories, drawings, etc. You have space in the front of the journal to guide these contributions. The rest of the journal is dictated by the authors. These authors could be friends, family, mentors, your barber, the guy you sat next to on the plane that one time. You get the idea. Literally anyone you want. That's pretty cool. I like the idea of that. So we've got a bunch of space to write down who the people are who end up filling in the pages of this journal. So that's quite cool. How many are there? How many are there? Okay. So we have 100 authors, which is kind of cool. And then after this, we have the prompt list of the things that they can write about. And then we have the individual people. So we've got like the number there in the corner that you can see. So it's effectively like an index, but the index are people. So that's kind of cute. Ooh, I love that. And it's thin-ish paper, not finish, thin-ish. So, choose a theme, summer camp, backpacking, birthday, find people to collaborate. Alright, I don't think it says on here specifically what the paper like type weight is or anything like that. The Cameo journal down the bottom here, you can kind of see. Pretty cute. And then just blue. It's a blue joe. Well, it's not a bujo. It's a Cameo journal. But I thought I'd bring this along just to, capture little memories and stuff like this. You should probably write down who it belongs to. So this one belongs to me, funnily enough. I'm going to put this down as my online name, and then we're going to do that as hello@jashii.com. One of the things that I find quite interesting, obviously, people have different accents, which means that they pronounce certain words differently. And one of those words, it seems to be, is my name. Most people can pronounce Jess, or at least most people pronounce Jess fairly similar to each other. But when it comes to JashiiCorrin, we hear a lot of different variations. I hear a lot of Joshi, and I'm like, my name's not Josh. It's Jess, which I mean, like, it's not JashiiCorrin either, I suppose. But I hear a lot of Joshi, and I hear a lot of Corrin, and I'm like, it's not Corrin, it's Corrin, like K. Like soft, not aggressive. I don't know. It doesn't really bother me all that much. It's just an interesting observation that I've made. I'm not going to put my phone number in here because I just don't think it's super necessary. But I kind of want to put like some stickers or decoration in here. We have like a little bit of sticky there. Separate that. But I'm not going to do that right now. I might wait until I get to Go Wild and then maybe have some Go Wild stickers. This could just be my like, you know, little interactions with other people, which would be kind of cute. I might want to write some prompts down so that then they have some ideas, but I'm going to have to think about that. And I might do that in my downtime when I go there. So maybe I can do this as like a plain activity. I'll keep it in my handbag. So that guy, if that's the case, then this one's going to have to go in my handbag, not in my packed luggage. Also, we want to make this just like a live stream, so of course we have to have a drink break. Tink. Carolyn has again offered to pick me up some Coke Zero for when I get to Go Wild / the States or whatnot. I am so very grateful because it's just my comfort. It's like, you know, my comfort drink, and it's nice to have your comfort when you're in a place that is a little bit outside of your comfort zone. That's all I can think of in terms of my packing list at the moment. We can check off that the shopping list has been done though, and the packing list is probably fully realized, so that should be okay. When it comes to my people to meet, I feel like I've missed some people out. Not because I like specifically counted how many dots that I had to put in here or anything like that, but I just remember having some people comment and then me being like, yeah, I'll see you there, and then I like forgot to write them down. If that was you, I do apologize. It was not an intentional thing, it was just something that happened, I suppose. For one, I think that I've left Laurie off, and that was not intentional, so we can put Laurie on here, L-O-R-I. I've effectively tried to use people's social media handles as a way to differentiate between people who have like the same name, which I don't think we have a lot of name double ups, but you know, safeguard myself against that. I do genuinely hope that I get to meet the majority of these people though. I know that it can be a little bit hard, like there's quite a few people that Go Wild, you're not necessarily going to be able to like touch base with everybody, but it would be nice to, you know, get to meet as many of them as I can. I think that rather than agonizing over every single comment that people have left me, I'm going to check this one off. And then the last one is just the places to see, because the rest of this will get filled in when I actually get there. I will say one that I'm very excited for is Mark from Mark Your Pages. He's my planner pal. He's the guy that I do the podcast with, so I'm very excited to like support him and his contribution to the crop night, so that'll be good. But this guy is pretty much done with, which means I just need to like, you know, fill in those last little bits and actually just check off my checklists. Make sure that this stuff gets done before it's time to go, which means I'm not going to put it in my bag just yet because I in particular need my like packing list. Maybe I'll bookmark the packing list. And by bookmark, I of course mean just putting this guy over the top so I can open directly to that page, just make it a little easier for myself. So that's good. So I do still need to consider any places that I want to see while I'm there, but that is going to be a later me problem. What I do want to check in with though is my yearly collections journal. That is this cheeky boy, and it's effectively just a space where, funnily enough, all of my yearly collections live. So anything that kind of has a lifetime of the full year goes in here rather than my everyday journal, just because my everyday journal only lasts like 6 months, maybe less, and I don't want to have to transfer these things over. So first thing we have here is my 101 things list. And can I check anything off? I feel like I might have at least one. Host a readathon, like technically speaking, I could check that off because we have announced the Goober readathon, which is happening in May, but it hasn't actually started yet, so I'm not going to check that one off just yet. Host a cocktail night though, I can check off because the cocktail night was at my house. That one was on the weekend. That's helpful, I need an actual date for this. Yeah, if I just write the weekend, I would be not very impressed with myself. Okay, that's the 13th of April, 1-3. So that's looking cute. I haven't done too many things off my list so far this year, and I'm not like super worried about it, but You can see I have a lot of space that I still need to fill in. If you have any ideas for what I could put on my 101 things list, I always love ideas. That's not to say that I add every single one to my list, because, you know, I want this to be stuff that actually kind of sounds exciting, you know, for me. But hosting a cocktail night, that one's been on my list for like several years, so to have that one actually checked off, very exciting. I'm almost tempted just to write like, have another cocktail night on there, but we're not going to. After this one though, we have my 24/24s in 2024, which requires a little bit more thought just to make sure that I can remember all of the stuff that we've been doing. I figure that probably the easiest way to do this is work through section by section, so nothing to add here. For this one we have the cocktail night, so we can add that. That was April 13th. We haven't had any date days since the dinosaur exhibit. No little treats come to mind, so we can leave that one. Time spent outside. I know this looks bad, but I have a kind of like specific threshold for time spent outside, and it hasn't been met since this date, so I guess I'll just leave that too. Future me problems completed. I keep on meaning to actually go and have a look at my future me problems list, and I keep putting it off. There might be something on here. I'm not sure. 1 liter water days I do have at least 2 more of, I think. I need to check my journal. I've been keeping track of that in here, so open that one up. And those are on my little tracker here. So we got it done on the 5th of April, the 5th, the 10th, and the 13th. So the 5th, which I said March, the 10th, and the 13th. 24-minute workouts, I've been doing those every day, except for the day after cocktail night. I, funnily enough, wasn't really feeling it. I don't think I'll be getting in workouts when I'm away, but I'll get back onto it when I get back. For no fast food days, I can fill in that this one has actually been completed, which is good to see. So April 11th, 12th, and 13th. Which means I no longer have to keep track of it, which is really nice. And then for movies watched, I don't know why, but I feel like I've watched something since the after little marathon that Rachel and I did, but I can't remember what it was if I watched it. I think I might just be misremembering it. What we did watch though was Inside Man, so that one I can add to TV shows. And I also technically watched Gossip Girl season 1 and 2. Initially I was just gonna make this new to me TV shows, and I have seen Gossip Girl before, but I'm not really watching all that much TV at the moment, so I'm not really too fussed if it's a repeat. Podcast episodes, nothing to add. Games played, we went to Brother's house and we played Takedo, but I've filled it in since then. But we did play a card game, which is called, I think it's like Stoned, Drunk, Stupid, or like something like that. It's effectively just a card game where you flip it over and then it says like some kind of scenario, and you say who in your group is the most likely to have done that. Or at least that's how we play it. Drunk, Stoned, Stupid, that's what it's called. I don't know how you're actually supposed to play it, but that's how we play it. In terms of alcoholic drinks made, now we do have some more to add to this. So we had the rose and lemon margarita that I made, which I am sure I'm spelling wrong, but I couldn't be bothered looking it up. We then had like a frozen berry rosé. It was like a, I don't know, Rachel made like these little kind of like berry coolie popsicles and then put rosé with them, and they were very good. Scotty's drink was super red. It was like a kind of like cherry flavored one, but not like artificial cherry, like genuine cherry juice, which was actually quite nice. I don't know what it was called though, so I'm just gonna call it cherry cocktail. And I know that Monica's had a name as well, and I think she might have sent it to me, so I'm gonna go have a snoop. Yeah, I think it's called Black Magic, so we can put that one in. The name is very fitting. It was very black. After that though, we started making like kind of just, I don't know, mixed bag kind of cocktails. So Rachel and Scotty made one that they were calling the Scrotty, which is not an appealing name for a cocktail, but it was a very tasty cocktail. So we can put that one in. Do not ask me what was in it, but it was at least yellow. I think it had pineapple juice and maybe like lemonade in it or something. It was tasty. And then they said we had to make one, Monica and I, and they were calling it the mess. So I'm like, okay, mess. We also made rosebuds, so that was good. And we made a lemon lime bitters with vodka, but I'm not gonna put that one in. In terms of new foods / recipes tried, I don't think there are any to add at this stage, except for maybe berry porridge, which I've been making recently, and I haven't technically made it before this year, so we can put that one in. But flipping over from here, we then have the just for fun or long-term collections like layouts that I've made. I haven't made any new long-term collections, but I have made some just for fun ones in that I've been setting up like, you know, in my reading journal, which is now called my stories journal. So if we open that one up and just have a little snoop. So ones that I've made this year in particular, Buddy Reads and Buddy Binges. I feel like those two were ones that I made this year. And then books to screen kind of thing, and then TV shows watched I made this year. And then the rest of these are just like review pages for the different things that I've been consuming, so they don't really count. Well, I mean, they kind of count, but no, they don't. So Buddy Reads, Buddy Binges, TV shows watched, and book to screen. Need to add all of those into here. I'm not too fussed if they're not in order, as long as I get them written down before I forget what they were. Buddy Reads and Buddy Binges, which is effectively just like things that I've been watching with other people. So whether that be like a TV show with Vogel, or a movie or movies with my mates, anything like that. One thing that I am kind of excited about is that I went and added in our game board for the Bujo Buddies book club, or rather in particular the Goober Readathon. So I've got that stuck in here, which I think is very cute. So something to look forward to, but not for right now. Put that one to the side. Other things that have been happening, we've got live streams. So the last one I put in here was from March 18th. We have some more to add to that. I just need to go look up what they actually were, because I like to write down the titles of them. So after the 18th of March, we then had a team live stream, or like an exclusive live stream, so I don't add exclusive live streams into this. But after that, we had a kind of journal with me, like set up my weekly kind of page, or rather like fortnightly kind of page. So that was on April 1st. We'll put that one in. Of course, if you ever want to go through some of the previous live streams we've had, they can all be found on the live streams tab on the channel, or I add the majority of them to a playlist, which is linked in the description box. But this one was our fortnightly setup. After that, on the 8th, we had header ideas. And then on the 15th, we had like my physical health journal planning that I'm doing, which we'll see if it actually comes to fruition. I'm kind of planning it to test the waters in a way. See if there's actually enough that I want to set up to kind of warrant it happening. In terms of more events, we had the March book club meeting. I don't remember the date of that. Probably the 31st of March, because that was the last Sunday. So March 31st, we had the book club. And then the week after that, on April 7th, we had the JCC Hangout, or JashiiCorrin Community. We also have the kind of like in-person hangout or in-person meetup that's happening later this week. Later this week for me, not for when this video is up, but you get the idea. I'm not going to add that one in until that date has actually passed for me though, so that's okay as it is. Collaborations. I feel like there must be something else. I've got collaborations coming up. I don't really want to write them down until they're done either. Nothing to add here or here. And then for days off, considering I haven't filled this in since the 3rd, I could say that April 13th, no, because I filmed the podcast in the morning, so that doesn't really count. And then physical self-care tasks, we can put down hair dyeing, because I did that recently, so that was April 15th. And we can also put down full body scrub, which happened today, so that was April 16th. And we actually also did another kind of like everything shower as part of reset week, so I can put that one in as well. I can also add that to mental self-care too. I don't remember the exact date though, so I'm just going to write March 27th because it's in the middle of the week. Now what I need to do is go through and have a look at how many of each of these I actually have, make sure that that is updated on my little graph here. And for this part, we're just doing a quick count up and a time lapse, because you don't need to hear me counting the numbers out over and over again and then flipping back and forth to fill in the tracker. Ah, look at that progress. Excellent job. So this page here is supposed to be my that's new kind of page, but the issue I have with it is that it ends up being a lot of repetition, because I've started copying over, like, you know, any game that I've played that I haven't played before gets written down here, but then also here. So I'm wondering if I just want to keep it as like a spill over for any of the things that I fill up too quickly here and then want to actually write out somewhere. Until I decide on that, I'm not going to actually write anything out, because anything that I would be adding in here is at least captured in those pages. So flipping over, future me problems. While I could check in with this, it is like literally the night before I leave for an international trip, and this is stressful, so I'm not going to look at it. More so if I go through the future me problems, I'm going to be like, oh, I could do that, I could work on this. I'm like, no, you don't really have time for it. So flipping away from that one, I totally have to fill out my savings. I'm not going to do that right now. What I am going to add to is the home projects list. We need to get the door fixed, we need to get the windows fixed, and then just the stuff that was already there, like my desk setup, revamping the bedroom, deck staining, and storage in the garage. But again, future me problems. Nothing to add on my statistics pages. Those ones are fine just sitting here. I have had good intentions about this page, but I guess maybe it's just not really happening. I might just go and end up adding like some kind of summary of like memories to it at some point, but I haven't been getting back in here and writing down my favorites. And the thing is, I'm like not that sad about it. It's okay if you set up layouts in your journal and you just don't really use them, right? It's just like a learning opportunity. I'm not going to beat myself up for that, so nothing to do here, nothing to do here, and then this is where my year in review is going to go, but we're not at the end of the year yet, so nothing to add, and then more stats because I hadn't started the podcast at the start of the year, so I put that one in. That's looking pretty good for the majority of my journals, but one journal that I would like to go and check in with is my reading journal, mainly just to show you kind of how it's been going, which we obviously had a little bit of a look at it before, but just put this elastic in the middle here and I can show you what's been going on. So this is kind of like the last spread that we had for last year before we get into like the 2024 kind of stuff. So I do have to fill in my books because I haven't filled in all of the ones that I've finished reading. We'll see if I do that now. I'm not really feeling like doing a lot of colouring in, so I might leave it. But I can at least go and add their titles to this list. So I'm gonna have to bring up my Goodreads and take a look. If you want to be my friend on Goodreads, feel free to, I don't know, add me over there. I don't write reviews or anything like that, but I do like to see what other people are reading, so wouldn't be opposed to seeing what you've been reading. So the last one I recorded was Butcher and Blackbird, and since then I've read a few books, so we're gonna go and add all of those in. So on the 21st of Feb, I finished Tower of Dawn, and also on the 21st of Feb, I finished Empire of Storms, because I read them together. After that, I read Heartstopper Volume 2, and I finished that one on the 25th of February. After this, we had the book club book of Building a Second Brain, and that one I finished on the 21st of March. So a bit of a kind of delay if you think about like the proximity of those reads together, but it's all good because after that, on the 23rd, 25th and 30th of March, I read the second, third and fourth book in the Vicious Lost Boys series. After this though, I wanted something just a little bit lighter, so I read the next Heartstopper book, that one being on the 31st of March, and then for April 14th, I finished the 12-week year. At least I've got that list in there, so now when I want to go and fill in that bookshelf tracker, to say that I've done like, you know, part of my way up to my 24 in 2024. I can fill that in, but not gonna do that right now. The top of the year, I don't fill in until the end of the year when I pick out like 10 of the best reads and then kind of pit them against each other to find a definitive ranking. So after that, we have Book Bingo, which does technically need filling in. I'm not gonna do it today, but I just thought I'd show it off because I think it's cute. These little tags are just to help me figure out like which books deserve which spot, so I can kind of go through and be like, oh yeah, it doesn't apply to this, 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 and this one, which ones does it actually apply to? But flipping over, I've got as much pasted in here as I can. I have technically printed off both of the book covers for the potential read in May, but because that poll hasn't gone up and, you know, been announced or anything like that, I can't actually stick anything in because I don't know what the book's gonna be yet. After this though, we have the kind of like head-to-head battle, so I could keep track of what the like runner-up or like, I don't know, loser book was. I don't like to call it the loser book, but it's the one that didn't win effectively. And then we have the Goober Readathon board. I need to plan what I want to read for each of these. Not to say that I'm actually going to do all 25 because the likelihood of that is incredibly slim, unless I pretty much just read graphic novels or something like that. But there are a couple of these that I would like to target. You know, I still want to get the most amount of points possible. The general gist is that each of the squares is representative of a certain number of points, so as you finish a book and kind of tie it to that prompt, then you get those number of points. The more points you get, the higher level you go. It's a thing. We have an introductory video on it. I am looking forward to it though. After this one though, we have my reading stats, and I do still need to fill out my quarter one stats, but I haven't really decided how I want to do it, like which stats in particular I want to think about, but at least I have the reading list all filled in now, so I can do that when I want to. After that one though, then we're into just some other bits and pieces like the review for the year, don't need that yet, non-fiction topics, all-time favorites, and because I changed this to be a stories journal, not just a reading journal, I could go and fill in some more of my favorites. Not a job for right now, but something to consider at some point. Similar idea with these pages, which we have already seen in this video. This is where my movies watched list is going to be. I'm wondering if I actually need 2 pages for it, but anywho. Games, maybe next, or things that are like on my radar, and then we're into the reviews. As much as I would love to fill in some of these reviews today, or like at least before I go away. I don't think I realistically have time for it. It's almost 8 o'clock and I do want to make sure that I get a good night's sleep. If you enjoy this kind of like, just journal with me, chat away type deal, then the playlist at the top is the one to check out next. That one has all of our previous like journal with me, body doubling type videos. So click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.